I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan.
What up, though?
Single mother.
Okay.
Well, single mother, my divorced mother. My father, he actually moved to another state. He lives somewhere else. So I'm my mother's only child. So my mother and my
Oh,
grandmother raised me.
okay. What about your father? Were you a daddy's
My
girl at all?
father, I have 8 siblings.
Wow.
And they live in Oklahoma, but I used to visit him in the summer, so I went back and forth. It was
Oh,
like he
okay.
wasn't
Live in Oklahoma. Oh, yeah.
absent
So you
all the
had,
time, but
okay.
yeah. And then he remarried, so I have a wonderful but bonus mom.
Nice.
So yeah, I always tell people like I was part of blended families before blended families became popular because my mother and my bonus mom never like I never saw them argue. I saw them having conversations and talking to each other, so I didn't
Wonderful.
have those. Yeah, so that was way before it, you know, we got to where we are now where you see them a lot. But my beginnings were humble, but I would say I didn't think as a child, I didn't know we were struggling. Like I would
Right.
call
Yes.
us a
I hear that
middle
a
class,
lot. Yeah.
like a middle class. I would say middle class household. My mother worked, my grandmother worked. My grandmother was like she was a strong woman. She took care of everybody around her pretty much, and I didn't ever really want for anything. So, but we weren't in a gated community. We were, in a neighborhood in what would most people would call humble. Um, and it basically that was it. I was a scholar student. Like
Oh, oh, okay.
yeah,
Good.
I was always on the honor roll, highest in
Okay.
boarding class. I went through academic games, things like that. And believe it or not, I didn't used to like to read.
You know what? I can believe that. Honestly, I can believe that because that does continue to be like those oxymorons that you come. Yeah, I could.
And
I,
it was
yeah.
more so that I couldn't identify with the stories that they were,
And why not?
and they weren't me. Like, and also now looking back, I might have had a little ADHD and it just didn't
Okay.
grab
Before it
my
was a thing.
attention.
Hmm.
But honestly, when I fell in, my mother used to read all the time. She read the, romance novels and
Yes.
all of that.
Yes. Yes.
I couldn't get into them until I read Maya Angelou.
Ah,
So when I
there we go.
read I
Okay.
Know Why the Cage Bird Sings, was
Hmm.
like the first book I can remember
When did you
reading.
read that? What age did you read that?
Oh God, I had to, I don't know, maybe eighth grade, so
Okay.
13,
So
14,
junior high.
maybe.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we'll get into that.
And
So yeah, bookmark that, Kaylin,
okay.
because I
So
want to get a lead up. Hmm.
that was probably the
Hmm.
first book. And so like anyone asked me who my favorite author is, of course, that's is Maya Angelou. So I got into that. I mean, I think more when I got into high school, I started doing a little more reading. And then as a young adult, of course, I was reading Zane and
Ah,
Terry
yeah,
McMillan and,
yeah,
all of those.
yes,
Elian Harris, so
yes.
that's when I fell in love with reading when I discovered Black authors, honestly.
Got you. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, no, I love that. But let me go back a little bit, because I want to, like I said, I want to give a little bit of leave it up and try to give a little bit of timeline here, because
Okay.
I want you to give, I like to hear more of the memories. Like, what was your favorite TV show? Would you watch cartoons on Saturdays? Did you I'm just trying to put some stuff out there. Did you have,
I
Barbies? Did you have Barbies or GI Joes? I mean, hey, it's, no gender
I had a
bias here.
Cabbage Patch
You know,
doll.
Cabbage Patch. I never had one. I always wanted one. I always wanted one of
I
those.
had Cabbage Patch. I think I did have a Barbie, but it was my Cabbage Patch. That's what I love. But yes, I used to watch cartoons. I love watching cartoons. All the way through high
Yeah,
school, I
yeah,
watched cartoons.
yeah.
I was the Saturday morning Scooby Doo, the all of
Yes.
that. Um, let's see. Favorite TV show. Of course, I watched the Cosby Show and all of those.
Yes. Yes.
Martin, like that was based in Detroit,
I
so
was
we
just
watched
watching
all
that
of
too.
that. Yeah, A Different World. Living Single was one of my favorite ones too.
You got, oh yeah, you got
Um,
some good stuff. Good stuff.
and then so there, it's a Detroit. It was a local Detroit show because we had local TV stations. We
Oh,
had the
okay.
new dance show, so it was a show that came
Ah,
on. It was
what was it
kind of
called?
like Soul Train almost, but it was all local. And
What was
I
it
used to
called?
rush. It's called New Dance Show.
New Dance Show. That's what it's called. Oh,
Yes, and
okay.
I used to rush home to watch that every day. Make sure that I was in front of the TV at 6 o'clock so I could watch the new dance show, and that was a thing. Probably that was high school.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah.
So what was it like? You said that you was the only child and you was raised primarily by your mom. So what was
Mhm.
that like for you as far as your social skills? Because I know you would develop them as you were getting older into elementary, junior high school, which you would get into in a second. But I just wanted to know, like, what was it like being raised primarily, mostly as an only child? Did you have cousins around you or French, French that you developed during that time that kind of filling
I,
that void?
I have friendships that I developed. Like and I still have my friends from the first grade. We are still best friends.
Nice.
We don't see each other as much as we usually do, but we always come together for
Yes.
birthdays. If
Hmm.
one calls, we are always there. So I developed friendships, and I think maybe because all my cousins, like there was a big age gap on both sides, like my father's side and my mother's side. I was kind of like by myself in my age group, but I did develop friendships, like I said, from first grade, and they were people in my
Nice.
neighborhood. Because as far as from elementary up through high school into college, I basically lived in the same house. My grandmother owned her house. We were always there, and so all the people in the neighborhood, those were my friends. So two of them, it was basically four of us that were kind of like our own little group, our own little friend set, and we're
Right.
still friends
Hmm.
to this day.
Oh, that is so cool. I like that. I like to hear that childhood friends still being friends, have friendship as adults. I think that is so cool. Yeah.
Yes.
But let me get more into like what was like your memories as far as elementary, junior high school, and I like to get into this with my guests because no, it's not being talked about as much when we talk about pivotal moments and we talk about self discovery or even speak on our journey or just speak on, excuse me, grown up period. The evolution has to involve that phase in your life, junior high and elementary, because that's when you start to be more into like your anatomy, you're developing your social skills. Were you a shy kid or the popular kid? Did you hump in the staircase? I like to say that, by the way. And did you, like I said, no, no, no shame in it. No
Uh,
judgment
I
here.
I didn't hop in the staircase, but I will tell you, I was. It,
Did you pass
it was
notes? Did you
it
know?
was passing
You
notes, and
know.
I got caught
Mhm.
passing a note talking about wanting to hump someone, and the
Oh
teacher read it
no, you
out
sound like,
loud.
oh my God, you sound just like the Dylan. I don't know if you heard of Dylan Decay, but she said the same thing.
And the teacher read it out loud to the whole class. Yes, yes.
Oh,
Now, mind you, I actually wasn't even humping then. I was just talking. Like I wasn't. I was
but you
still.
just,
I was,
you listen.
I was trying to be cool and
Yes, yeah,
everything.
you was being
Oh,
fresh.
that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And she read it to the
Oh my.
whole.
Oh, I get you. You ain't, I bet you ain't do that no more, did you?
No,
Oh
I
my
was. I
goodness.
was so mad. So the person I was passing the note to, the teacher asked her for the note, and she gave it to her. I was so mad at her for giving her the note. Like, throw it
What was she
away, tear
supposed
it
to
up.
do?
She should have tore it up on the way to the
Oh,
like.
yeah, she didn't know.
I
She's
know,
like,
but I just remember it then, just being so
right,
mad.
right at that time, like, wait a minute, how you gonna throw me under the bus like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
So talking about like middle school, that's actually where. So back
That's
to
when
me and my grades, I
you're
was
reading.
bored,
Mhm.
so they had me in advanced classes
Right.
because they had like honors classes and all of that. But that's really when I started writing because I used to get bored, so I would make up stories. I would start writing stories then. Um, it would
What you write
be
about?
involving my friends or something, but I
Oh,
would just
okay.
make up some story about something we did or went to the mall. I don't remember now, but
Mhm.
I can't remember writing a story at that time and reading it to them like this is us, like it was something to do. Um, and then I wrote poetry then. I used to write songs. I couldn't sing a lick and anything, but
Right.
I used to do stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
always like just creative and making stuff up.
But you know what? So I'm wondering, like, based on what you're saying, like, what did you pull from? I mean, I know you said your friends, but as far as you say that you made up scenarios in your head, and where did, because they have to come from somewhere. And I always say this when it comes to creatives, it's not just something you acquire; it's something that's in you. You may not have discovered it until
Right.
here we go with the self discovery. That's what we're getting at. You know, you might even notice that, but it was there already. You just, but when did you really know at that time? Okay, this is the time where I need to really explore. And did you turn? Did another part of the question? I'm sorry. Um, did you submit it to any type of competitions? Did you like, you know, any type of
So
literacy? Yeah.
I did not then, but let's see. I think I must have been a sophomore in high school, and we did do. I actually had a poem published in. It was like a school. I don't remember what it was. Like they had a literary book or something that they did, and it was like a contest. And I wrote a poem that was actually published in that book when I was a sophomore. So, and honestly, I still didn't realize like writing was it for me too much later. I probably was an adult then, but I got married young. I had kids young. I was, I went to college. I'm trying to just do
Right.
anything.
Right.
But I always had, I wanted to write. Like I knew I wanted to write. Like, and honestly, my first book, I had been saying, I'm going to write this. I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it. And I just took the time one time. I got laid off from my job and I didn't have
Mm.
anything to do. So it probably took me 2 weeks to write my first book because I just sat, that's what I
And
sat in
what
the
book was
notebook
that?
all day. It's called Love with a Vengeance.
Love with
It's,
the
it's
Vengeance.
still in publication. It actually, so I wrote it and I didn't publish it for 4 years, almost five
Mm.
after I wrote it. So I just sat on it. Of course, I changed it, tweaked it, all of those.
Of
But
course.
it turns 15 this month.
Oh,
So it'll be
congrats.
15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's something you definitely need to commemorate. You know, I mean, are you planning on doing something with about
So
with them?
I thought about it, but you know what? I was doing so many other things.
Yeah, you
I
should.
didn't have, I had an idea and I still might do it before the end of the year, but I
Yeah,
just,
you should.
because I was doing so many other things, I never just didn't get around to it. I actually
Yeah.
was gonna, make a special edition and I
Yeah,
still might.
yes, you should. Yeah, 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 do that. Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, because I know that's something to be proud of. I mean, because it's like a, just kind of seeing where you were and where you are now. I mean, that
Yeah.
journey right there, that's not something that you want to take for granted. So that's something you need to celebrate. So congrats on that. And
Thank you.
so going back into where you said that you started in around eighth grade, you became familiar with Dr. Maya Angelou, and you read her book, and from there, what was about that piece that drove you?
I think for me, like I said, I could identify with the character, not necessarily her trials and tribulations, but just the fact that, she was like me. She was a little girl that probably looked like me. You know what I'm saying? And she came from humble beginnings. She had all these things going on, and I think
A
more
lot.
so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she had a lot. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have any of those things like in my life, but I think it also gave me a glimpse into what other people go through because I didn't know anything about, those kind of things. Or
Right,
none
right.
of my friends that I knew of were going through things like that. So it was also kind of like um, a reality check. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, I think I have actually had it better than other people when you never really put that in perspective,
Yeah,
you
true,
know,
true.
growing up.
Yes, but at the same time, just a little insert this real quick. Yes, we understand that sometimes we take certain things for granted, and we look at another situation with someone else, and we like, okay, I'm blessed more than I think. Okay, I'm blessed more than I think. But at the same time, I don't like where when um you share certain things and you go through something and you confide in a person or you confide in people, and the first thing they say is that, well, it could have been worse, because to me that's dismissive.
Yeah.
That's
No,
dismissive.
that's
Like,
yeah,
don't
that's dismissive.
minimize somebody
Yeah.
else's journey, or minimize someone else's tribulation. Is even though, yes, of course it could have been worse. We understand that, and we have seen worse. I get it, but at that moment, you don't need to hear
You no.
that. I'm just trying
Because
to,
and
yeah,
everyone, whatever they go through, it's still you go through those emotions. You have
yes.
some
Yeah,
kind of
please don't do
turmoil.
that.
It's still something
Yes,
emotionally you have to grow or get through or deal with. So it's
yes.
still it doesn't matter if it could have been worse. It was still something
It
that
was something, right, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I want to make sure I inserted that because I just feel like, even though the intentions are there, and that, sometimes it don't mean no
Mhm.
harm, but it is still harmful nonetheless, in the sense, underlining,
I get
underlining harmful, because you know that's not what you need to hear in that moment. So,
right.
but I'm glad that you shared that as well. But I also wanted to share, what are some of the things that, you said that there were certain things in, Maya's, Dr. Angela's story that you was late to. What were some of those things that you were
Uh,
able to relate to?
I don't even know if I can think of the anything particular right now. I
Okay.
haven't read. Now you know what? Now you want. I might want to revisit that story
Okay.
so I can remember the details. I don't think I've read it. I know I read it twice, but it was a long time ago, so I might pick
Okay.
that back up.
Yeah. Why not?
I
You
might do
know.
that.
And so now let me ask you, from transitioning, like, elementary, junior high school, what was the key self discovery moment that you've had during that time?
Oh, okay. So I have always been on the thicker side, and I used to feel I was I wasn't as confident as I should have been. And I used to feel like I would, and honestly, I had, well, someone that I thought was my friend. They used to kind of tease me about my weight, but
Mm,
now I realize they were envious.
yes.
Um, because, but I got a lot of self confidence, and I think pretty much earlier than most, I started feeling like I'm not worrying about what other people think of me.
Amen.
Um,
Yeah.
for and so I kind of carried myself like that for a
Yeah.
long time.
So
From
self discovery is, having that self confidence that you needed
yes,
to know that you are enough, and someone else's view of you is not the end all be all,
not
and,
at all.
yeah, and you'll be okay. So
Yes.
yeah, so I'm glad that you was able to discover that. So